Broadcasting live from the Albay PIO News Center, providing you the most exclusive news update from all over the province. This is News at 12.
News at 12.
In the local scene, the Sangguniang Panlalawigan ng Albay is reviewing a proposed renewable energy code that seeks to strengthen the province's policies on clean and sustainable energy development. The measure, known as the Clean, Affordable and Renewable Energy Code, or CARE Code, was discussed during the board's 50th regular session. The proposed ordinance aims to promote the development and use of renewable energy resources, improve energy efficiency, enhance energy security, and encourage investments in clean energy technologies. Lawmakers said the measure is designed to accelerate the adaptation of renewable energy and energy-efficient practices while supporting sustainable economic growth and environmental protection. Committee members also recommended refinements to several provisions to ensure consistency with existing national laws and energy policies. Once enacted, the proposed code is expected to provide a comprehensive framework for Albay's transition to cleaner energy sources and strengthen the province's climate resilience and environmental sustainability efforts. In other story, the province of Albay welcomed Fulbright American teacher scholars for a week-long cultural and educational immersion program, showcasing the province's heritage, tourism destinations, and local traditions. The exchange brought together Filipino and American educators to share insights on teaching practices, educational experiences, and cultural understanding. The Provincial Tourism, Culture and Arts Office assisted the delegates throughout their stay and facilitated activities highlighting Albay's history, culture, and natural attractions. The visiting scholars toured various destinations across the province and experienced the hospitality and unique identity of local communities. The provincial government also recognized educator Edgar Arciga Jr. of Legazpi City Science High School for his support and coordination of the program. Officials said the exchange strengthened educational and cultural ties between local and international educators while promoting Albay's culture and heritage to a global audience. In other news, more than 800 child development workers from across Albay gathered at the Albay Astrodome for Kumusta, conversations with child development workers of Albay, a dialogue focused on strengthening support for early childhood care and development. The activity also brought together around 750 students from Daraga Community College, government officials, and other stakeholders to discuss issues affecting young learners and the education sector. Governor Noel Rizal reaffirmed the provincial government's commitment to recognizing and supporting the important role of child development workers in shaping the future of Albay's children. National and regional government officials joined the event, highlighting the importance of collaboration in advancing quality early childhood education and development. Provincial Education Department officials said the dialogue provided participants with an opportunity to engage with government leaders, share experiences, and gain valuable insights on early childhood care. Organizers said the activity strengthened partnerships among child development workers, government agencies, and stakeholders in support of quality services for young learners across the province. In the national scene, the impeachment court will retain its prosecution first format, allowing House of Representatives prosecutors to complete their evidence on all remaining articles against Vice President Sara Duterte before the defense presents its case. Presiding Officer Francis Escudero announced the ruling Wednesday after the prosecution and defense failed to agree on a proposal to hear evidence from both sides separately for each article of impeachment. Under the procedure, prosecutors will first present evidence in chief for all articles they do not withdraw, after which the defense will present its evidence on the articles pursued by the prosecution. Escudero said the court retained the format used during the impeachment trial of former Chief Justice Renato Corona, in which prosecutors completed their presentation on all articles before the defense took the floor. The court ordered the issuance of subpoenas requiring 3 prosecution witnesses to testify and produce documents during the next trial dates. Lead prosecutor Jervil Luisro of Batangas identified the witnesses as former Commission on Audit State Auditor Roderick Wamil, incumbent Co-State Auditor Zylene May Del Campo, and House Legislative Information Resources Management Department Director Marivic Pareja. Wamil is scheduled to testify on August 3, followed by Del Campo on August 4 and Pareja on August 5. The trial was adjourned until August 3 at 10 a.m., with the court expected to discuss possible adjustments to its daily schedule during a senators' caucus. In other story, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. remains committed to enacting an anti-political dynasty law despite not mentioning the measure during his 5th State of the Nation address, SONA, Malacanang said Wednesday. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said Marcos's position on the proposed law has not changed, after observers noted that it was absent from his legislative agenda during his penultimate SONA on Monday. Castro said the president still wants the anti-political dynasty bill to be passed during his term and under his administration. She said the palace is awaiting developments in Congress, particularly in the Senate, where deliberations on the proposed measure remain pending. The 1987 Constitution directs Congress to prohibit political dynasties as may be defined by law, but no enabling legislation has been enacted nearly 4 decades later. Various anti-political dynasty bills have been filed in both chambers of Congress over the years, seeking no limit immediate family members from simultaneously holding or successively occupying elected public offices, but none has become law. In other news, Malacanang on Wednesday clarified that President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s proposal to remove system loss charges from electricity bills seeks to protect consumers from paying avoidable costs, not to financially burden electric utilities. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said the proposal is intended to end the practice of passing avoidable losses onto consumers, while encouraging distribution utilities to improve their operational efficiency. The clarification came after the Philippine Rural Electric Cooperatives Association, PhilReca, warned that removing system loss charges without government support could result in financial losses for electric cooperatives. Castro said electric utilities should strengthen monitoring systems and implement measures to reduce losses, particularly those caused by electricity theft and pilferage. She said the proposal remains under study to ensure that the reforms would not negatively affect power distributors, adding that government subsidies for electric cooperatives are not currently being discussed. During his 5th State of the Nation address on Monday, Marcos called on Congress to amend the Electric Power Industry Reform Act, EPIRA, to prohibit charging consumers for system losses, including the value-added tax imposed on such charges. The president said consumers should not shoulder costs arising from technical losses, electricity theft, or other inefficiencies beyond their control, as these expenses unfairly increase household electricity bills. Under the IPIRA, distribution utilities are allowed to recover a portion of technical and non-technical system losses from consumers, subject to regulatory caps set by the Energy Regulatory Commission. And in the news outside the country, police, firefighters, and self-defense force personnel continued search and rescue operations Wednesday after a powerful earthquake struck Kumamoto Prefecture in southwestern Japan, with the death toll reaching 13. Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi said the death toll had reached 13 as of 8:30 a.m. Wednesday, including cases whose connection to the disaster was still being investigated. The magnitude 7.1 earthquake struck at around 4:27 p.m. Tuesday, registering a seismic intensity of 7, the highest level on Japan's scale, in the city of Yuki and the town of Hikawa. About 200 people evacuated Aeon Mall, Kumamoto, in Kashima town before an explosion occurred, causing part of the building's second floor to collapse. 8 people who had been trapped were located and rescued, but 2 women in their 20s were later confirmed dead, while 1 person remained in cardiopulmonary arrest. Authorities said more people may still be trapped inside the shopping mall, with rescuers focusing their search on areas where they received responses to their calls. At a Nippon Paper Industries plant in Yatsushiro, a chimney collapsed and reportedly trapped 11 people. 2 were pulled from the site in cardiopulmonary arrest, while 9 others remained unaccountable for. Numerous houses collapsed across the prefecture, while 8 fires were reported in Yuki, Yatsushiro, and Kumamoto. A total of 4,744 people from 2,180 households in 36 municipalities have been evacuated, while water outages have affected parts of Yuki, Yatsushiro, and Hikawa. Power outages have also affected around 37,000 households in 9 municipalities, with authorities urging residents to take precautions against heat stroke, as temperatures are expected to reach 35 degrees Celsius or higher in the coming days. The Japan Meteorological Agency warned that earthquakes of up to seismic intensity of 7 could occur over the next week, and urged residents to remain vigilant. In other story, the Japanese government on Tuesday drew up emergency crime prevention measures, including a proposal to consider requiring stalkers to wear GPS devices to prevent them from approaching their victims. The National Police Agency and other authorities aim to implement the measures early after consulting experts and conducting case studies. Arrests and other enforcement actions for alleged violations of Japan's anti-stalking law reached a record of 1,546 cases in 2025, while more than 3,000 prohibition orders were issued against stalkers. The emergency package emphasized the need to prevent contact between stalkers and their victims, particularly in cases involving obsessed offenders who ignore prohibition orders. Under the proposal, stalking offenders could be required to wear GPS devices that would alert victims and urge them to evacuate when the defenders or offenders approach. The agency began studying similar systems used in other countries following the fatal stabbing of a woman in Tokyo's Higashi Ikebukuro district in March. The suspect was her former boyfriend and was already subject to a prohibition order. The agency is examining conditions for requiring offenders to wear GPS devices, methods for assessing threat levels and human rights and technological concerns, and whether existing laws need to be revised. The package also proposed mandatory counseling and medical consultations for offenders who may pose a serious threat, as well as the early establishment of correctional program for stalkers. Another key measure is the creation of a public-private center to combat financial crimes, where investigators and financial institutions employees would work together to trace stolen money and freeze bank accounts. The government also plans to consider deeper cooperation with foreign authorities, including the use of analysis equipment and artificial intelligence to detect possible fraud through the analysis of phone calls and emails. And finally, in the news outside the country, with reference to the Philippines, Israel's Ministry of Tourism is seeking to attract more travelers from the Philippines and Singapore by strengthening ties with travel agencies and promoting the country's religious, historical, adventure, and leisure destinations. The ministry recently hosted a 7-day familiarization tour for travel agents from the two countries, featuring destinations in Jerusalem, the Dead Sea, and Tel Aviv, as well as jeep tour in the Judean Desert and a wine tour in the Golan Heights. Hazan Mada, International Director of the Israel Ministry of Tourism in Jerusalem, said the country remains open to international visitors and hopes to welcome more travelers from the Philippines and Singapore. The ministry identified the Philippines as one of its priority markets in Asia, with arrivals driven largely by faith-based travel, while Singapore is considered a strategic market because of its role as a regional aviation and travel hub. The tourism ministry said it has been strengthening partnerships with Southeast Asian travel industry stakeholders through regional events, including ITB Asia in Singapore. Despite the lack of direct flights between the Philippines and Israel, Filipino tourist arrivals have remained steady, according to the ministry. The Department of Tourism and the Israel Ministry of Tourism have also signed a joint declaration of intent to promote two-way tourism and are discussing ways to improve air connectivity. Israel Ministry of Tourism Philippines Marketing Manager Ana Oraiza Aban said Filipino and Singaporean passport holders can travel to Israel visa-free, making it more convenient for them to visit the country. And that's the news at 12, July 30, 2026. We'll be back tomorrow for more news updates. Thanks to our news writers, LJ Lorejo and Ian Buitre. And on the technical side, Ted Bobis. Our Provincial Information Office OIC Marty Gonzalez, and under the supervision of our Governor, Noel Irusal, I am Greg Hallare. Thank you for subscribing Albay in my heart.